Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial, and today we're at World War II weekend in Reading, Pennsylvania. This place is like a Ren Fest for World War II aficionados. You can see all around us encampments of reenactors. We've already seen a German contingent, a Russian contingent, Free French contingent. Of course, there's American reenactors all over the place. And I've even seen one person representing an Imperial Japanese soldier. The main focus of the weekend is the air show. So there are aircraft all over the place, many of them still operating. Some of them you can even pay to go up for a ride in. There are also a ton of vehicles around here. I have been in Jeep dealerships before that didn't have as many Jeeps as World War II weekend here. So today's video, we want to talk about why biplanes were still used in World War II. I've got a Stearman trainer right here behind me, and aircraft like this are used right through World War II, even though in many ways they're obsolete. We'll talk about why some of the ways they're still kept around and why they ultimately aren't. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, but I haven't been able to find a swordfish anywhere to record. So our Stearman back here will have to do. The primary role of biplanes during World War II was as training aircraft. They create more lift, they are slower and more maneuverable in general than full-fledged military aircraft of World War II, monoplanes and the bigger aircraft. So they're much more forgiving for a new pilot. They're also easier to maintain. Oftentimes, large portions of them are wood and fabric. So if you break something, it's relatively easy to replace. So this makes these ideal as training aircraft and also makes them ideal in some capacities as frontline aircraft, especially early in World War II when you're still seeing the transition from biplanes into monoplanes. It's the late 30s by the time that you start to see monoplanes widely in use. And so there are still many holdouts in 1939 when World War II starts. Just about every single Navy in the world is still using biplanes of some sort. In 1939, both the Japanese and the Americans still have biplane fighters and bombers. The British, of course, are still using Swordfish and some other types of biplanes like the Albacore. The Germans planned on putting a biplane torpedo bomber on their own aircraft carrier, Graf Zeppelin. That's never completed, so that never goes through. The Italians are still using biplane fighters in World War II. So, at this time, monoplane designs already exist. Why are they still using biplanes? Well, it's a lot of the reasons I just said. They are more repairable, especially if you're forward deployed or if you're operating on an aircraft carrier. They're much more forgiving on pilots. You don't have a lot of wartime experience. In peacetime, you don't have a lot of money to train people. You're not getting as many flight hours as you would in wartime. So it's really forgiving aircraft, easy to repair and maintain at the front. And because they create so much lift, they're really great for short takeoffs and landings. That's great for carrier flight decks. That is great for being on a grass field somewhere in somewhere that wasn't supposed to be an airfield when you first invaded there. Other reasons have to do with procurement. In peacetime, difficult to get funding for new types of aircraft. Even though there are new types in development, it takes a long time to buy enough, especially the war starting. You start to rapidly build up, converting more ships into aircraft carriers, needing more aircraft flying combat air patrol over airfields and cities and other places. So oftentimes, aircraft that have already been replaced as frontline aircraft are brought back just because you don't have enough frontline type aircraft. Some roles remain ideally suited to biplane aircraft. So for example, as spotting aircraft, because they fly slower, they can loiter longer over a target. They're not right over it and gone. So they can see the target for a longer period of time. Two wartime uses of biplanes are the Italian fighters in the Mediterranean theater early in the war. Italian pilots actually, when offered a monoplane, chose the fighter because it was so much more maneuverable. The two wings give it more lift, and so they absolutely loved their biplane fighters. The Allies and their faster aircraft loved the Italian biplane fighters as well. And very early on in the war, the Italian military backtracks and starts converting fully over to monowing fighters. Another example, of course, the naval use is the British use of swordfish as torpedo bombers on their aircraft carriers. Famously, swordfish attack Bismarck successfully, and they're largely able to do this because their slow speed makes them much more difficult to track by the German anti-aircraft gun directors. And their fabric wings allow them to take hits from the smaller caliber German guns that pass right through without doing any significant damage, and they're able to stay in the air, press their attacks. Bismarck doesn't manage to shoot down a single torpedo bomber, or any other aircraft for that matter, during her entire operational life. And these torpedo bombers are successful. However, by the next year, when the German battleships do the Channel dash, the British again use swordfish against them, this time with disastrous results. Operating in an actual fleet with a combat air patrol, the swordfish are not able to enjoy the same success. And so they are retired and replaced largely with American-built aircraft by the mid-war. However, like we said earlier, biplanes like this one will stay in use as training aircraft throughout the entire war and are still popular to fly today, even though they no longer fulfill frontline functions. What's your favorite type of biplane? Let us know in the comments section down below. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. We really appreciate your support. You can also experience World War II by coming out to Reading's World War II weekend. It is an annual event. There will probably be another one early next June as well. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find out about the museum and our channel. Thanks for watching.